Good Sunday afternoon and welcome to the Bellefleur Tire Shop Grand Falls Greenfoot Rapids pregame show. It's Sunday afternoon, my favorite time of the week, which means the Rapids are once again back on home ice for we're actually 3/5 of the way through the 5-game homestand. So this is going to be the third consecutive game at home for the green and white. And so far, they're 1-1. But today could be a real good opportunity for them to go 2-1, don't you think? We're going to get into all that and more here on the Bellefleur Tire Shop Grand Falls Greenfoot Rapids pregame show. But first, let's get into the stats just a little bit. So first off, we are going to go into the tail of the tape. So the Rapids boasting a 14-11 2-0 record on the year. The Bearcats, on the other hand, 16-7 3-0. Both teams second in their respective divisions. For the Bearcats, it's the Eastlink South Division, and for the Rapids, it's the Eastlink North Division. Now sitting 3 points behind the Chaleur Lightning for first. And ditto with the Bearcats sitting 3 points behind the Summerside Western Capitals for first place in their division as well. Leading the charge for both teams, Nathan Plemont-Michaud with 14 goals this season. And on the flip side of that, Eli Baillargeon, another player whose rights were traded to Truro as part of a trade with Grand Falls. We'll talk more about that in just a little bit. Then leading the charge in terms of assists and overall points, Jonah Leard with 24 assists and 35 points on the year. On the flip side of that, Jake Todd with 23 assists and 32 points this season. So we're going to obviously dive into a little bit more of the player stats and the storylines for this game as well, but we're going to keep going with the stats for now. The goals for and the goals against, obviously quite similar. The Rapids have only scored 10 more goals than the Bearcats have this season. That's something to keep an eye on. And then the goals against, there is a 19-goal difference between their goals against. The Rapids allowing 99 and the Bearcats allowing 80. So that's going to play a little bit of a factor as well in terms of the matchups. But overall, a little bit of a difference. 19 goals, like I mentioned. Then come the special teams. So despite not being super crazy effective in the previous game, the Rapids power play still first in the Eastlink North Division at 21.7%. The Bearcats third in the Eastlink South Division at 25%. So that just tells you how effective the power play has been over in that side of things. And then the penalty kill is where things start to get a little bit dicey as well. So it's a battle of pretty much one of the top power plays versus the fourth place penalty kills. The Rapids at 80% fourth place in the Eastlink North Division. And then 74.7% for the Bearcats, which ranks fourth in the Eastlink South. So why are those numbers important? First off, we saw in last game against West Kent, Grand Falls obviously had a couple of power play opportunities, weren't able to make the most of those, but still managed to maintain that top power play percentage in the division. Not too bad at all. You look at Truro, for example, right, who has been almost just as effective on the power play as Grand Falls has. And, you want to look at their power play stats through not just these two teams, but in terms of the power play overall in the South Division. Summerside ranks first at 39.3. Then comes Amherst at 32.3, right? Then goes Truro, which is in third at 25%. So they are 26 for 104 is what Truro's stats are. Grand Falls, on the other hand, 23 for 106. So their percentage is closer than you think in terms of their ratio on how many power play goals scored versus their opportunities. It's very close. The percentage may not seem like it's very close, but it is. It definitely is. And seeing how good Truro has been this season compared to, a team like Amherst or Summerside, Summerside's 42 for 107, putting them at 39.3, and then Amherst is 32 for 99, which is extraordinary. Considering how much the power play around the league is down this year. A little bit up from what it was last year, but still quite a bit down from what it usually is. This is going to be a battle not just of special teams, and I think they're going to be very evenly matched on the special teams. This is going to be an all-out brawl between the top stars on the Bearcats versus the top stars on the Rapids. And you look at the amount of players that each team has, right? You look at who the leading scorer is for Truro, right? We mentioned that it was Jake Todd, and he's a guy who obviously the Rapids have historically had a tough time shutting down, especially the last game that they played, ended up having a couple of points in that game and was super effective 5-on-5. Ditto with making sure that he got those scoring chances on the power play as well. So you look at the matchups between their forwards, the top 5 in scoring right now: Jonah Leard, Loic Francoeur, Zachary Michaud, Nathan Plevenot-Michaud, and Braden Campbell for the Rapids, right? Then you look on the flip side of that, on Truro's standpoint: Jake Todd, Callum McCoyne, Eli Bayarjan, Liam Welsh, and Nathan Curson, who all have in and around the same stats as their Rapids counterparts. It's going to be, I would assume it's going to be a very high scoring game. If not, then it'll be very close at least. You could still have those games where they're high scoring and very, very close, of course, as we mentioned. But with these two teams, I mean, you have a powerhouse forward group in Grand Falls, and then you have a powerhouse forward group in Truro. The difference here could be, number one, first off, their goaltending. Luca Connolly and Brandon Lavoie on the side of the Bearcats, both playing terrific seasons this year. Luca Connolly 10-2-2. And with Adam LaCour, he has been the Rapids ace in the whole 11-7-1, right? So their records speak for themselves. An .896 save percentage on LaCour's side and a .345. On the other side of that for Connolly, it's a .910 save percentage and a .277 goals against. Now, with that in mind, Truro's a team that likes to kind of split their goaltending a little bit, so it's not so much they have like sort of a 1A, 1B. They're decent on the back end, but again, a team that can be easily cracked if you get into their head early. Where the Rapids have the advantage is their defense, right? And they've prided themselves on that all season long. We saw, we've been talking about it so much, not just on the broadcast, but on the show as well, how Anton Topolnitsky, Julien Avignon-Bourque, Isaac Allard, so many names on this roster have kind of gained them a little bit of an advantage because of not just their size, but their defensive effort as well. And we've seen the amount of times where Jack Brown, I think in the last 3 games alone, has registered 8 hits, plus 4 block shots. He's got an assist. Like, this Rapids defensive core is a well-oiled machine. And if they can stand up to Truro this game, it's going to go very fast for Grand Falls. It's going to be a good result if they're able to lock down the back end. And depending on who is going to get the start, be it Jeremy Thibodeau-Soucy or more presumably Adam LaCour, we'll see how that's going to go. But if they can help him out, give him a little bit of a bone, and if Adam has a performance like he had last game, things are going to be just insanely good this game. So with that said, yes, it's going to be a very, very tense game. As we saw, this is a rematch between Truro and Grand Falls. The last time that these two teams played each other, the Bearcats took a 5-3 victory that was in Truro on November 21st. And I wouldn't worry too much about that game because, yes, it's in the past, but now it's time for the Rapids to regain their game a little bit and play the way that we're used to see them playing. As we saw on Friday nights, it's just a breath of fresh air to see that win come through again. So, yes, it's going to be a big game. Going to be something that I know a lot of people are looking forward to, myself included. And it's, we're 3/5 of the way through the 5-game homestand. So if you think about that for a minute, there's 3 games left. So there's Truro today, Valley next Friday, and then Campbellton on next Sunday. Then they hit the road to Edmundston on Saturday, December 13th, and then Miramichi on December 14th as well. So they got a 2-game road trip right after that. But for now, it's time to focus on just how well they're doing. They played well on Friday nights. If they can continue that into this game, it's going to just be fantastic. And we know that they can play well. We've seen that. It's just a matter of how will this game be different from the game that they played against Truro last time. Now, I mentioned that they're coming up. The next game is going to be on Friday night against the Valley Wildcats. So they have another interdivisional matchup. The last time these two teams played was an 8-4 win for Grand Falls in Valley. The last time that these two teams played. It's not going to get easier, per se, through the month of December, but it's going to be less of a workload, as we've seen. November was easily their busiest month. I mean, you got 2 triple headers 2 weeks apart from each other. Plus, you had almost a back-to-back basically every other weekend, and a Wednesday game. On top of that, you got Friday and Sunday. November was just the craziest, busiest month of the season for these guys. But I think December is going to be a little bit more calmed down. Doesn't get any easier, like I said, but at least it's going to be less of a workload and a more of a better opportunity, I would say, to get some points and get ahead. Hopefully catching up to Chaleur, which they now sit 3 points behind. The Lightning obviously winning last night and then going to overtime going to a shootout rather on Friday night against the Valley Wildcats, and the Wildcats taking that game. It's going to be close. With how I mentioned how close this division really is, there is 8 points that separate first from last. Where the Miramichi Timberwolves are compared to where the Chaleur Lightning are. It's 8 points. That's how close it is. And everybody always around here trying to distract me here, but 8 points is all that separates first from last. You're definitely gonna want to get those points early on and make sure that you're pulling ahead just a little bit. But with that said, things are looking good. Real excited for this game, and you should be too. For those who are coming to the game today, make some damn noise. I don't want to hear anybody sitting on their hands and being as quiet as possible. Make some noise. They feed off of that. They love that stuff, and we all do too. So make sure you're making noise. If you're watching at home, tune into Flow Sports. I'm going to have the call with you at 3 o'clock sharp is when the game starts, and it's going to be a full day of action here in Grand Falls. So with that being said, if you haven't already done so, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell notification for all future content, including the exciting announcement that we got coming up very soon. You don't want to miss that. I will continue to tease that until the announcement is dropped. But enjoy the game. Make sure that you're here. If you're here, make noise. If you're not, still make noise from your couch and cheer on as loud as possible. The Rapids, so far, have won on Friday, and they're gonna win today.